I declare this congregation open as Chancellor of the University for the conferring of degrees by the authority of the Senate and the Council.
Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriffs, Chancellor, distinguished guests, parents, friends and graduands of the University. As Vice-chancellor, I am delighted to welcome you all to this degree congregation. It is a celebration for all those who graduate today from a leading international research and teaching university that has been placed in the top group of UK universities. In the last 6 months, Leicester was one of 4 universities nominated for the title Institution of the Year by the Times Higher Education Supplement. We were joint top in the National Student Survey among institutions teaching full-time students. We were placed top for teaching quality and overall performance, and 2/3 of our departments were placed in the top 10 universities in the UK. We were placed in the top 500 universities in the world, where we were 151st. The table for the top 200 in the world shows us slightly lower, so I always take the view it must be methodologically flawed. Finally, we were delighted that our Students' Union was awarded the title Students' Union of the Year in the UK. So academically and socially, as you will know, you can have an absolutely terrific time in the University of Leicester. In all these ways, the reputation of the university develops and grows. All graduations are special, and this one is no exception. It is the first time that our Chancellor, Sir Peter Williams, has presided at a ceremony for the award of postgraduate qualifications. Sir Peter has a distinguished record in the academic and business worlds and plays a major role in the interface between business and academic developments. We very much look forward to working with him and welcome him here today. We are very fortunate to have persuaded him to be our Chancellor. Our ceremony is also special today, as it is predominantly for postgraduates who constitute approximately 50% of the university's population, a feature that makes Leicester unique among universities in the UK. Many of you have combined work with part-time study, in many cases through distance learning, an approach that I hope will appeal not only to others who graduate today, but also to parents, families and friends who would rather like to make their way to a degree ceremony in the Montfort Hall. I can confirm that if you would like to take a distance learning course, we shall be delighted to sign you up at the end of this ceremony. Indeed, those who are graduating today may well wish to take further courses, so do explore this opportunity with your tutors over lunch today. Leicester is a university that makes lifelong learning a reality. It is not an abstract concept. It is not just something for policy debate. It is something to benefit everyone and to benefit the development of education and training in vocational areas as well as in fundamental academic fields. But what kind of university are you about to graduate from? We are a university now of some 19,000 students and 3,000 staff, and in the last academic year, the university had a turnover of £167 million. We are, by any judgment, a business, but a business with higher education at its heart. We continually seek to develop and improve our facilities. Having recently completed a £20 million biomedical building, we are now embarking on the largest capital project the university has developed, a £25 million complex involving the library, an auditorium, a cafe and a bookshop. It will be a landmark building at the heart of our campus. In Oadby, on our student village, we are also building a new hall of residence that will constitute 574 study bedrooms. These will open this autumn. And I say that's as much a message for the contractor and the estates department as it is for those of you in this congregation. Such projects require further funding over and above the funding that we get from government support. Indeed, it is my view that it is absolutely right that universities should have to raise their own finances as well as getting core funding from government. We have therefore commenced a systematic fundraising campaign to support the development of the university library, to engage in the development of a cardiovascular research institute, and to develop new research and new projects, and most importantly, to appoint new people to the university. I hope you will wish to explore supporting the university with our alumni, but you may be able to introduce us to a trust or a donor, or you may know of some scheme that the company that you work for engages in with universities. Or indeed, you may wish to make a personal donation. All of those aspects of support are very welcome. Finally, I would like to congratulate you all on the award of your degrees. I hope you will keep in touch with the university and look forward to seeing you at alumni events. But before I close, I would like you to join with me in thanking parents, relatives and friends for all their support through your studies. So I would now ask you, the graduating class of 2006, to join me in a round of applause for those people that I've named. That's very good. I hope you will continue to applaud your fellow graduates throughout the degree ceremony, because the main thing is to have a splendid day and to really enjoy the occasion, as it is a celebratory event of all your achievements in the University of Leicester. And finally, all good wishes to you in your future careers.
Engelbert Humperdinck is one of this city's most famous sons. His fame has been achieved not by noble birth or the hand of fortune, but rather by enormous talent and sheer hard work. He was born, like many citizens of Leicester, in India, where he was one of the 10 children of a British officer and of a mother who was a talented violinist and singer. His birth name was Arnold George Dorsey. After the family returned to England, young Arnold attended schools in Leicester and took up the saxophone. He began to play in local pubs and then to sing, initially under the stage name of Jerry Dorsey. Jerry Dorsey gradually established a reputation on the UK club circuit, but his career was cut short by the onset of tuberculosis. Absence from the limelight at that stage of a career is a disaster because one simply disappears. And so he relaunched his career in the UK and then America, always ensuring that he maintained his roots in Leicester. His new image was accompanied by a new name, that of Engelbert Humperdinck. Opera fans recognized it as the name of the 19th century composer of Hansel and Gretel, but for most people it was simply outrageous and memorable. It would clearly cause confusion in the German-speaking world, so there he is marketed simply as Engelbert. This willful confusion with the world of opera is not inappropriate. Engelbert's mother had an operatic voice, and the genes that she transmitted to her son gave him a vocal range of 3.5 octaves. His chosen medium is the ballad, but the sonority of Engelbert's voice and its capacity to convey a range of strong emotions have resonances and indeed origins in the world of opera. His power as a balladeer relates more to presence than to voice, in that he gives the impression that he is singing for the individual listener, to whom both the narrative and the articulation of the emotions seems to be directed. Engelbert does not sing to all of us, but rather to each of us individually. Success, as Engelbert explains in his recently published autobiography, What's in a Name, arrived like a meteor. The name of the meteor was Release Me, and it soared to the top of the charts in the week of 8 April 1967, preventing the Beatles' Penny Lane from reaching that coveted spot. Release Me sold 85,000 copies a day. Many other hits were to follow, among them The Last Waltz, After the Lovin', Quando Quando, and most recently Lesbian Seagull from the soundtrack of Beavis and Butthead Do America. Release Me led to the formation of a great following. By 1970, Engelbert had established 250 fan clubs around the world. Almost 4 decades later, it is still the world's largest fan following. In the course of his career, Engelbert has sold 130 million records, including 70 gold and 23 platinum albums. Recognition has included his own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It seems astonishing that this acclamation and adulation has never gone to his head. The chronology of this career defies our common sense of musical history. Jimi Hendrix was introduced to the UK and began his career as the first half of Engelbert's show. Even Elvis owed a debt to Engelbert because the sideboards were introduced by Engelbert and then borrowed by Elvis. Engelbert and Elvis subsequently became friends and sang each other's songs. Engelbert sang Love Me Tender, and Elvis sang Release Me and There Goes My Everything. At a later stage on the Las Vegas concert circuit, Engelbert earned the friendship and respect of Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. Now, this is the public Engelbert, behind which stands a modest private man. 3 aspects of the private man distinguish him from many of his fellow entertainers. First, he is a family man. His wife, Patricia, who's here today, and their 4 children are all involved in the family business of Engelbert's career, and he remains close to his family in Leicester. Second, he remains loyal to his Leicester roots. The center of his global career has been America, but Engelbert still spends part of every year in his house at Great Glen, a few miles south of Leicester. Third, his ability to earn money gives him the opportunity to support and contribute to his charities, and the focus of his generosity and substantial amounts of his time is a range of medical charities. In America, he has supported the Leukemia Research Fund, the American Red Cross, and the American Lung Association. He has also supported a range of AIDS charities, for one of which, called Reach Out, he wrote and performed an anthem of the same name. Here in Leicestershire, he is patron of County Air Ambulance and has also supported the University Hospitals of Leicester. Mr. Chancellor, on the recommendation of the Senate and the Council, I present to you Engelbert Humperdinck, that you may confer upon him the honorary degree of Doctor of Music.
Sir, submit you to the degree of Doctor of Music and welcome among you. Many, many congratulations. Many, many congratulations. Please.
Chancellor, Vice-chancellor, Pro-chancellor, Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriffs, members of the Senate and Council, distinguished guests and fellow graduates. I'm nervous. I thank the university for this great honor and the public orator for saying wonderful things. My special congratulations to Sir Peter Williams, the university's new chancellor. I have performed on this stage many, many times, but today is a very proud moment in my life as I turn pages. It gives me a thrill as an entertainer to be honored by this University of Leicester in my hometown, and I'm delighted to be sharing this special day with all graduates and your families and your friends. You must be all very delighted with your achievements. We will remember this day with pride and very happy memories. A special word of congratulations to my fellow honorary graduate, Revd Alan Race. I would further like to thank the university for recognizing the 40 years, long time, isn't it? The 40 years I've spent within the music industry and the charitable contributions made and intend to continue to make. My fans around the world will be delighted to learn I'm receiving this prestigious honor and recognition from the city, to which I frequently return to visit my family, my home, and my friends. Do you know, it would be easy for me to sing this. I think I should swap the microphone for a conductor's baton. As an entertainer, I will always be Engelbert Humperdinck, but to the citizens of this city, I will always proudly remain a son of Leicester. I thank you.
The graduands in the Faculty of Arts will be presented by the Dean, Professor Shattuck. Will all graduands in the faculty please stand?
Mr. Chancellor, I ask you to admit these candidates from the Faculty of Arts to the several degrees for which they are presented.
Graduands of the Faculty of Arts, by the authority of this Senate, I admit you to the several degrees for which you are presented.
For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Yu Pin Chung. Georgia Dimitrokopoulou. Katerina Jofsali. Hui Zhong She. Philip Mills. Vasiliki Tizibazi. Paula Warrington. For the degree of Master of Arts in Archaeology and Heritage, Stephanie Chettle. Bernadette Cunningham Sykes. David Sowerby. For the degree of Master of Arts in English Literary Research, Veronica Chandler. Emma DePledge. Laura Proctor. For the degree of Master of Arts in History, Elizabeth Baxter. Shital Shudat Sama. Alison Gadd. Andrea Kuma. Paul McGivern. For the degree of Master of Arts in Humanities, Rishab Prasad. Mary Pryor. For the degree of Master of Arts in Landscape Studies, Elizabeth Edgar. For the degree of Master of Arts in Modern Literature, Philippa Barton. Nicholas Cryer. Belinda Kaur Lidder. Victoria Orchard. Charlotte Francesca Civiter. For the degree of Master of Arts in Museum Studies, Nicola Fox. Natalie Gibbs. Jefferson Hurley. Nicola Hutchinson. Nicole Corey. Winner of the Department of Museum Studies Distance Learning Prize, Elias Kupferman. Jane Montgomery. Catherine Portelli. Rachel Rogers. For the degree of Master of Arts in Professional Archaeological Practice, Geoffrey Hawley. Janice Holmes. For the degree of Master of Arts in Rome and its Neighbours, Andre Marie Bagley. Richard Elliott Skeen. For the degree of Master of Arts in Victorian Studies, Catherine Delafield. Shelley Ann Galpin. Rosemary Palmer. Gemma Sharp. Mr. Chancellor, I ask you to admit to the several degrees for which they are presented by my faculty those candidates who are absent.
By the authority of the Senate, I admit those candidates who are absent to the several degrees for which they are presented.
The graduands in the Faculty of Science will be presented by the Dean, Professor Hillman. Will all graduands in the faculty please stand?
Mr. Chancellor, I ask you to admit these candidates from the Faculty of Science to the several degrees for which they are presented.
Graduands of the Faculty of Science, on the authority of the Senate, I admit you to the several degrees for which you are presented.
For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Matthew Charles Baddock. Yi Cheng. Paul Clarkson. Natalie Carolyn Draper. Ahmed El Saifi. Zoe Fleming. Annabelle Kelly. Nai Wan Lai. Andrew Levin. Andrew McMullen. James Newsey. Kenneth Oshije. Anup Patel. Hannah Schofield. Rosemary Telford. Marie Vernon. Andrew Walter. For the degree of Master of Science in Advanced Electrical and Electronic Engineering, Ugo Biren. Lai Han. Erhan Kara. Xianying Li. Chi Jun Luo. Lu Hua Wang. Yipeng Zhang. For the degree of Master of Science in Advanced Mechanical Engineering, David Sheena Adebayo. Jiong Fu. For the degree of Master of Science in Chemical Research, Biological Chemistry, Amy Chan. James McGregor. Amit Natubai. Mukti Zaveri. For the degree of Master of Science in Chemical Research, Green Chemistry, Kerry Olwyn Hughes. Pragna Shikotra. For the degree of Master of Science in Embedded Systems and Control Engineering, Ji Chen. For the degree of Master of Science in Geographical Information Systems, Sultan Al-Harbi. Ian Chambers. Christopher Cockerton. Rosemary Partington. For the degree of Master of Science in Information and Communications Engineering, Ashraf Al-Najdawi. Chen Chen. Ning Jia.
Many congratulations.
Bo Lee. Yu Wang. Maria Zarenti. Hao Zhang. Feng Zhong. Liang Zhu. For the degree of Master of Science in Software Engineering for the E-Economy, Graham Cross. Stephen Gorton. Shi Chuan Hu. Liang Jian. Walter Onyekachukwu Magulike. Zhaofei Shen. Andrew Moody. Yun Wu. Hong Ching Yu. Xie Zhao. For the degree of Master of Science in Sustainable Management of Natural Resources, Yachat Ali.
Many congratulations.
Celia Berry. Oliver Corns. Rebecca Windward. Mr. Chancellor, I ask you to admit to the several degrees for which they are presented by my faculty those candidates who are absent.
By the authority of the Senate, I admit those candidates who are absent to the several degrees for which they are presented.
The graduands in the Faculty of the Social Sciences will be presented by the Dean, Professor Jackson. Will all graduands in the faculty please stand?
Mr. Chancellor, I ask you to admit these candidates from the Faculty of the Social Sciences to the several degrees for which they are presented.
Graduands of the Faculty of the Social Sciences, by the authority of the Senate, I admit you to the several degrees for which you are presented.
For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Martin Ayres. Celia Cordell. Abir Dababna. Margaret Damant. Amanda Langley. For the degree of Doctor of Education, Carlin Arcas. For the degree of Master of Arts in Applied Linguistics and the Teaching of English to Speakers of Other Languages, Mary Archer. Karina Balbo. Sarah Connington. Verena Matapita. Hidemi Otsuka. Michael John Physic. For the degree of Master of Arts in Diplomatic Studies, Michael Karalambos. Yazin Sismechi. Graham Hudson. Samuel Ibbott. Christian Moritz Sis. For the degree of Master of Arts in European Urbanisation, Helen Broderick. For the degree of Master of Arts in Globalisation and Communications, Mei Ling Chang. Percy Macombe. Kay Peng. Jay Ju. For the degree of Master of Arts in International Economic History, Simon Hunt. For the degree of Master of Arts in International Relations and World Order, Alicia Guerri. Robin Hawes. Ian Gill. Nicholas Gadsby Jones. Stuart Mara. David Gioggio. Benjamin Rajenovich. Innocent Satoli. For the degree of Master of Arts in International Security Studies, Richard Dunmall. Laurent Willert. For the degree of Master of Arts in Mass Communications, Afo Salazi Adio. Si Ren Ang. Yanis Argyrides. Jacqueline Ann Boddington. Elizabeth Bridgen. Martin Bugelli. Hui Di Chen. Jay Chen. Sophia Christidi. Ray Che. Richard Emmett. Snowy Feng. Joe Haig Tanner. Dong Dong Han. Chi Hiao. Hang Hu. Guan Ho Huang. Stephen Brendan Jacobs. Nan Jiang. Rajbinder Kera. Charlene Kumar. Jing Yu Li. Jing Chi Li. Jun Li. Jie Liu. Chao Wei Liu. Maria Logothetti. Andrew Duncan McIntyre. Jan Wu Meng. Bo Hua Miao. Zhong Ha Na. Alice Nakagwa. Edwin Phillips. Shelley Jane Phillips. Jae Yong Kui. Dan Dan Tan. Jaria Yapa Tavithong. Shim Meng Wan, Zhao Wang, Jing Wang, Mei Mei Wang,
Well done. Congratulations.
Ji Wang,
Congratulations.
Sin Wei Wu,
Congratulations.
Meng Wu,
Many congratulations.
Shang Hui Yan,
Many congratulations. Enjoy your day.
Jiang Hou Wu,
Congratulations.
Li Zhang,
Congratulations.
Ji Wei Jai,
Many congratulations.
Wen Wen Jian,
Congratulations.
Ho Jiang,
Many congratulations.
Shan Zhou,
Many congratulations.
for the degree of Master of Arts in Professional Studies in Education, Geraldine Feely,
Well done, Jeremy. Congratulations.
Julie Russell,
Congratulations.
for the degree of Master of Arts in Social History, Anne Colling,
Congratulations.
Caroline Hands,
Well done, Carol.
for the degree of Master of Arts in the Sociology of Sport, and winner of the Dr. Rhys Powell Dissertation Prize in Sociology, Lara Killick.
Well done. Many congratulations. And well done on your prize.
Andrew Pendergrass,
Congratulations, Andy.
for the degree of Master of Arts in Urban History, Laura Balderstone.
Congratulations.
Richard Harrison,
Well done. Enjoy your day.
Cedric Reynard,
Many congratulations.
for the degree of Master of Business Administration Education Management, Rosalind Burley.
Many congratulations.
Carol Chambers,
Well done. Many congratulations.
Leslie Friedman,
Well done, Leslie.
Emma Jane Gibbons,
Congratulations, Andy.
Andrew McMurray,
Well done, Andrew.
Jessica Mistry,
Many congratulations.
Shane O'Brien,
Congratulations. Well done.
Richard Pillinger,
Well done.
Timothy Pratt,
Congratulations.
Joanne Roden,
Well done, John.
Angela Smith,
Many congratulations.
Bernadette Stivala, for the degree of Master of Arts in Educational Leadership, Andrew Hill,
Well done, Andrew.
Boon Hae Yules,
Congratulations.
for the degree of Master of Science in Geographical Information Systems and Human Geography, Thomas Edward Astlebert,
Well done, Thomas. Congratulations.
for the degree of Master of Science in Media and Communications Research, Chang Wu,
Many congratulations, Andrew.
for the degree of Master of Science in Political Research, Lawrence Davis,
Congratulations, Thomas.
Christopher Neil Terry,
Well done, Thomas.
for the degree of Master of Science in Social Research, Damien Breen,
Congratulations.
Wendy Brown,
Well done. Congratulations.
Stacey Pope,
Many congratulations.
for the degree of Master of Science in the Sociology of Sport, Leslie Matheson,
Well done, Leslie. Congratulations to you.
Mr. Chancellor, I ask you to admit to the several degrees for which they are presented by my faculty those candidates who are absent.
By the authority of the Senate, I admit those candidates who are absent to the several degrees for which they are presented.
As you walked this morning from the University to the Montfort Hall for this ceremony, you will have passed, on Victoria Park, the War Memorial of the City of Leicester. Here, each November, the dead of the many wars of the last 100 years are remembered in a service. The Remembrance Service is an interfaith event, reflecting the multicultural life of the city, with prayers being said by representatives of the major world religions. This Remembrance Service is perhaps the most public interfaith event in Leicester, but there are many others, reflecting the good relations between faiths in this city. Yesterday evening, the commemoration for Holocaust Memorial Day, which is today, was equally open to people of all faiths. Now, Alan Race is and has been for many years prominent in interfaith work locally, nationally, and internationally. He has published 2 important books on interfaith understanding. Christians and Religious Pluralism, which was originally published in 1983, with an expanded second edition in 1993, is extensively used as a university text on this topic. Interfaith Encounter, the twin tracks of theology and dialogue, published in 2001, is an exploration of ways towards a resolution between the different theological studies, which seeks a mutually enriching encounter between different perspectives of religious philosophy. Alan Race thinks that without such dialogue, everything fails. It is time, he says, for the religions and ideologies of the world to surrender that last corner of the mind that thinks that my religion or my worldview, including secular worldviews, is superior to all else. Fundamentalisms of all kinds, whether sacred or secular, whether of the Al-Qaeda or the Richard Dawkins kind, are anathema to him. Alan Race was born in Norton, Stockton-on-Tees, in 1951. Between 1969 and 1973, he attended the University of Bradford, where he obtained a BSc in chemistry. His time in Bradford coincided with the first great wave of non-Christian immigration into this country. Bradford became home to a large Islamic population, and this influx stirred in Alan Race an interest in multi-faith work. After graduating from Bradford, he studied for the Anglican priesthood at Cuddesdon, near Oxford, and was ordained in 1976. After a curacy in Hereford, he became chaplain to the University of Kent at Canterbury, where he remained until 1984. From 1984 until 1994, he was Director of Studies for the ordination course at Southwark. He began lecturing to continuing education students at Kent, continuing this work for the University of London after his move there. He came to Leicester in 1994 as Rector of St Andrews, Ayleston, combining this post with theological training and education work throughout the Midlands area. Alan Race obtained an MA from the University of Birmingham in 1980 with a thesis on Christian responses to a multi-faith world. This work culminated in his 1983 book. He is a religious pluralist, believing that the world religions are humanly authentic and true, that they arise from an experience of ultimate reality, and that they provide a transcendent vision of the nature of the metaphysical. An analogy he uses is that of a window. Each religious tradition views the whole of reality, but sees it partially, constricted by the frame of the window, which represents the constraints of each tradition. One basic argument of the religious pluralist is that the vast majority of people in the world do not choose their religion. They are born into it. One's faith is largely an accident of geography. Such accidents cannot be part of a transcendent reality. They suggest that the development of separate faiths is more to do with earthly events than with the ultimate purpose. The intent of interfaith dialogue is to move away from these accidental differences, to recognise that no one religion possesses the fullness of religious truth, although all possess part of it. Our convictions are precisely that, our convictions, fallible intimations of a mysterious transcendent reservoir of being and value, intimations which arise from the time and place in which we live. The journal, Interreligious Insight, of which he is editor-in-chief, is designed to seek out the common truth behind these intimations and to encourage dialogue and engagement through practical projects in which different faith communities work together to make a difference to the world. The City of Leicester is proud of the harmonious relations which generally exist between its different faith communities. The Leicester Council of Faiths, of which Alan Race has been a member since his arrival in the city, and of which he is now treasurer, works to maintain and extend these friendly links between the many faiths represented in our city. Long may he and it continue their work. Mr. Chancellor, on the recommendation of the Senate and of the Council, I present Alan Race, that you may confer on him the Honorary Degree of Doctor of Laws.
It's a long time since I had such a large audience for a sermon. But you'll be pleased to know I'll spare you that. Chancellor, Vice-chancellor, Pro-chancellor, Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriffs, members of Senate and Council, distinguished guests and fellow graduates. I am most grateful to the University for conferring upon me this honorary degree of Doctor of Laws. I regard it as a great privilege indeed. It is awarded in the city of Leicester, which is on course to become, outside of metropolitan London, the most multicultural and multi-faith city of the United Kingdom. So in a very real sense, in Leicester, the world is at our feet. And the university plays its own significant role in helping to shape the vibrancy and intellectual life of the city. In honouring me, I feel that the university is also honouring the diverse faith communities of Leicester. Well, they say that travel broadens the mind. My own mind was broadened just about 3 months ago when I had the opportunity for the first time to visit Japan. And one day I strayed out of Tokyo to a place, and here our fellow Japanese will maybe correct me afterwards about pronunciation, or at least give me a little tutorial. I strayed to a place called Kamakura. Here, on an ancient sacred site, was Japan's largest outside bronze Buddha. As high as the trees amongst which it nestles, with its deeply inward gaze, here was a hugely impressive search for wisdom, compassion, and self-transcendence. The guidebook said the image was built in the 1250s. Now, I live and work on the edge of Leicester City in a place, Ayleston, which has an equally impressive sacred building, this time a medieval church. And this building too was begun in the 1250s, with a spire pointing upwards to a source outside of the boundaries of our usual human finitude. This too is a representation of the human quest for wisdom, compassion, and self-transcendence. I ask myself, are these two versions of the human quest variations on the same theme? Or are they too contradictory for that? They are certainly different, but difference is different from being contradictory. Someone once said that if you put the mystics of the world's sacred traditions into one room, they would be strangers to one another, but they would know intuitively that they belonged together. We're told that we are now all part of the global world community. Yet globalization can too easily become a kind of hostile takeover bid by one part of the world on the rest. Therefore, we have to supplement it with other commitments, such as a commitment to comprehend one another across conceptual and social worlds, sometimes worlds of deep difference. And that's the meaning of interfaith and intercultural and, if you like, inter-ideological dialogue. That's the reason for this honorary award. Above the entrance, on the inside of Leicester's splendid Jain temple, Jain Centre, there are three ethical principles that live at the heart of that tradition. In English translation, they go a bit like this: non-grasping, non-harming, and non-one-sidedness. And it's that non-one-sidedness that interests me. Other traditions, including my own Christian outlook, have their versions of it. And it's key to what the practice of interfaith dialogue is all about. In dialogue, we celebrate our differences and rejoice in the resonances of human creativity in its many forms. And I believe that this is something for religionists and secularists alike. For we're all learning our limitations in what one scholar of religion has called our not quite inscrutable universe. I like that phrase, for it unites both the sciences and the humanities in one endeavor. We're learning to see the whole, but under partial vision. We're learning non-one-sidedness. And once you get your tongue around the word, you can also see immediately that it yields a social and a political spin-off. Non-one-sidedness liberates us from always having to be on the winning side. And applied to the religions, if interreligious dialogue and cooperation can transcend historic antagonisms and get an act together, then it will be good not just for the believers, but for the whole world. After the Cold War, we do not have a clash of civilizations, as some think tanks have offered us. We have rather an invitation to live creatively, with multiplicity and with differences. That's been my intellectual and life journey, but I think it's catching on of late. If the diversity of our world is not to lead to insanity and chaos, we really had better learn to share one another's wisdom, compassion, and self-transcendence. My fellow honorary graduand was kind to mention me, so I'm going to include him in my final paragraph. Perhaps I could plead From our blinkered one-sidedness, please release us and let us go. You see, he and I might look different and sound different, but we have our similarities too. Mr. Chancellor, thank you again for this honour. I thank everyone for your attention.
The graduands in the Faculty of Law will be presented by the Dean, Professor Clarkson. Will all graduands in the faculty please stand?
Mr. Vice-chancellor, I ask you to admit these candidates from the Faculty of Law to the several degrees for which they are presented.
Graduands of the Faculty of Law, by the authority of the Senate, I admit you to the several degrees for which you are presented.
For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Vladislav Golyenka.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Laws in European Law and Integration, Yanis Sophoklias.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Laws in Human Rights, Naomi Milner.
Congratulations.
Joel Chichioki Nawalozi.
Congratulations.
Yoshiko Shimitsu.
Congratulations.
Anne Stocks.
Congratulations.
Marian Veshka.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Laws in International Commercial Law, Stylianos Andriadakis.
Congratulations.
Tan Chan.
Congratulations.
Lana Chen.
Congratulations.
Panayoti Economou.
Congratulations.
Clement E.
Congratulations.
Ijoumu Efuribi Udiegi.
Congratulations.
Dogurkan Erturk.
Congratulations.
Panikos Fakontis.
Congratulations.
Sabine Hutner.
Congratulations.
Amara Ituma.
Congratulations.
Evrim Kaslioglu.
Congratulations.
Alexandra Castrinu.
Congratulations.
Elif Kokeli.
Congratulations.
Jing Lin.
Congratulations.
Alexia Muskai.
Congratulations.
Irene Muskau.
Congratulations.
Matthias Müller.
Congratulations.
Yuan Sum.
Congratulations.
Imbili Muwandwa Vini Yuvokik.
Congratulations.
Hongli Yan.
Congratulations.
Hai Xeng San.
Congratulations.
Wei Wei Xeng.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Laws in Public International Law, Silky Hobeek.
Congratulations.
Shilpa Pawar.
Congratulations.
Joseph Zand.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Laws in Social Welfare Law, Sarah Sargent.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Arts in Human Rights, Rachel Victoria Allen.
Congratulations.
for the degree of Master of Arts in Social Welfare Law, Gerard McCann.
Congratulations. Well done.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to admit to the several degrees for which they are presented by my faculty those candidates who are absent.
By the authority of the Senate, I admit those candidates who are absent to the several degrees for which they are presented.
The graduands in the Faculty of Medicine and Biological Sciences will be presented by the Dean, Professor Lauder. Will all graduands in the faculty please stand?
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to admit these candidates from the Faculty of Medicine and Biological Sciences to the several degrees for which they are presented.
Graduands of the Faculty of Medicine and Biological Sciences, by the authority of the Senate, I admit you to the several degrees for which you are presented.
For the degree of Doctor of Medicine, Stephen Butterworth.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Medicine. Many congratulations.
Kay Hogreave.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Medicine. Many congratulations.
Kiat Song Tan.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Medicine. Congratulations.
For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Gabriela Almeida.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Martin Blatchard.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Jennifer Blythe.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations. Thank you.
Garda Bogdadi.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Paul Brighton.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Selina Burgess.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Andrew Burnham.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Karen Burr.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Daniel Frank Carr.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Claire Jane Cole.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Charlotte Elizabeth Coles.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Elizabeth Eglinton.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Robert Free.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Hazel Gervin.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
John Halsall.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Michael Gordon Joyce.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Lisa Marie Kerr.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Patricia Lamb.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Rachel Lawson.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Rachel Madison.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Stuart Sale.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
Davina Twiddy.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations.
For the degree of Doctor of Clinical Psychology, Stephen James Bainbridge.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Clinical Psychology. Congratulations.
Catherine Blair.
I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Clinical Psychology.
Wayne Burgoyne.
I admit
received the degree of Doctor of Clinical Psychology. Congratulations. Amanda Cunliffe. I've received the degree of Doctor of Clinical Psychology. Congratulations. Kerry Howcroft. I've received the degree of Doctor of Clinical Psychology. Congratulations. Lindy Newton. I've received the degree of Doctor of Clinical Psychology. Congratulations. Claire Pollitt. I've received the degree of Doctor of Clinical Psychology. Congratulations. For the degree of Master of Philosophy, Wei Song. Congratulations. For the degree of Master of Arts in Child Welfare Studies, Lynn Renton. Congratulations. Avis Williams McCoy. Congratulations. For the degree of Master of Arts in Social Work, Leanne Allen. Congratulations. Well done. Olu MC Olowoyu. Congratulations. Well done. Andrew Price. Congratulations. Amy Shepherd. Congratulations. For the degree of Master of Science in Applied Forensic Psychology, Julie Ann Aspin. Congratulations. Helen Jane Burns. Congratulations. Sean Hooper. Congratulations. Sarah Elizabeth Ingham. Congratulations. Andrea Johnson. Congratulations. Louisa Kemp. Congratulations. Heidi Louise Mace. Congratulations. Sarah Motson. Congratulations. Gail Murphy. Congratulations. Anne Siviter. Congratulations. Deborah Titley. Congratulations. Simone Wackerman. Congratulations. For the degree of Master of Science in the Assessment and Treatment of Sex Offenders, Carl Shaw Cockling. Congratulations. Well done. Helen Fogarty. Congratulations. Andrew Ryden. Congratulations. Patricia Sheridan. Congratulations. For the degree of Master of Science in Bioinformatics, Danny Bitten. Congratulations. Sajan Khosla. Congratulations. Aruna Kumar. Congratulations. Lena Piao. Congratulations. Alexander Richards. Congratulations. Anthony Smith. Congratulations. Robert Southern. Congratulations. Natasha Wood. Congratulations. Linag Yu. Congratulations. Thank you. For the degree of Master of Science in Child Mental Health, Anne Brown. Congratulations. For the degree of Master of Science in Forensic and Legal Psychology, Gordon Buki Webster. Congratulations. For the degree of Master of Science in Forensic Psychology, Lorna Michelle Griffin. Congratulations. Well done. Eleanor Grote. Congratulations. Claire Elizabeth Gunby. Congratulations. Gemma Hurst. Congratulations. Amit Jyotangia. Congratulations. Russell Norton. Congratulations. For the degree of Master of Science in Health Services Research, there's one at the top of the list, Elena Anna Stathopoulou. Congratulations. For the degree of Master of Science in Health Services Research, Amanda Carver. Congratulations. For the degree of Master of Science in Medical Statistics, Rachel Clare Morgan. Congratulations. Well done. Daniela Negrini. Congratulations. Thomas Palmer. Congratulations. Christopher Smith. Congratulations. For the degree of Master of Science in Molecular Genetics,
Rana Al-Rabi.
Congratulations.
Supriya Bhutani.
Congratulations.
Pek Tai Chung.
Congratulations. Well done.
Boitello Letsolo.
Congratulations.
Ying Li.
Congratulations.
Juan Li.
Congratulations.
Hannah Louise Patrick.
Congratulations.
Girish Ramachandran.
Congratulations.
Tara Rao.
Congratulations.
Samantha Warrington.
Congratulations.
Heriu Wen.
Congratulations.
Yang Zhao.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Science in Molecular Pathology and Toxicology, Raymond Borton.
Congratulations.
Camille Doe.
Congratulations.
Amarjit Kaur Gatorea.
Congratulations.
David Stephen Guttery.
Congratulations.
Cindy O'Donnell Hope.
Congratulations.
Shabanu Ibrahim.
Congratulations.
Donna Jacobs.
Congratulations.
Gurdeep Jandu.
Congratulations.
Fatima Nizam.
Congratulations.
Iram Noreen.
Congratulations.
Helen Pollard.
Congratulations.
Lavinda Sangha.
Congratulations.
Rajni Sudhir.
Congratulations.
Keen Theda.
Congratulations.
Sashini Weeraman.
Congratulations.
Wenshan Zhu.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Science in Occupational Psychology, Stephen Burton.
Congratulations.
Antoinette Close.
Congratulations.
Rachel Evans.
Congratulations.
Karen Fragolini.
Congratulations.
Caroline Hope.
Congratulations.
Sarah Jaggers.
Congratulations.
Andrea McCarthy.
Congratulations.
Catherine McKinvin.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Hugh O'Donovan.
Congratulations.
Chantal Top.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Science in Pain Management, Owen Bennett.
Congratulations.
Carol Haddow.
Congratulations.
Catherine McGonigal.
Congratulations.
Kay Rabenstein.
Congratulations.
Sue Syndica Drummond.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Science in Psychological Research Methods, Marcin Stachurski.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Master of Science in the Psychology of Work, Sean Griffith.
Congratulations. Well done.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to admit to the several degrees for which they are presented by my faculty those candidates who are absent.
By the authority of the Senate, I admit those candidates who are absent to the several degrees for which they are presented.
Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriffs, distinguished guests, friends and colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. May I first of all join the Vice-Chancellor in offering my congratulations this morning on the achievements of all of our graduates. In this, my first ever congregation as your Chancellor, you will remain, all of you, a very, very special group for me in the years in the future. Can I also say what a particular pleasure it was, and a great privilege, on this my first congregation, to be able to present honorary degrees to two such very distinguished honorands with their very extensive and their different links to the communities in Leicester. Gentlemen, you do us great honour by accepting our honorary degree today, and we are grateful to you. And of course, all of you who have graduated today deserve our praise. You've acquitted yourself in a very wide range of disciplines to a very high postgraduate level. You come across from the whole spectrum of ages. You come from many nations on earth. But you know you now share a common bond. From this moment onwards, you are all alumni and alumni of the University of Leicester. That you will remain so. This is something you and your families should be immensely proud of. It's a mark of distinction that will remain with you throughout your lives and throughout your careers. As you enter the world of work, or indeed, in the case of many of you, as you return and re-enter it, you have also developed a very considerable competitive advantage by way of the skills and the experience you acquired both here in Leicester and on our distance learning programs. Now, I use the word competitive quite deliberately. Alan Race, in his wonderful response, stressed the sensitivity of confrontation as being to be avoided and the necessity for understanding between communities, and I wholeheartedly support what he said. But when we understand each other better, and when we have hopefully eliminated confrontation, the human instinct for competitiveness will inevitably remain. Ceremonies such as this, for example, are by no means unique, of course, to Leicester. They will be taking place, no doubt, this week in universities all over the world. As many of our graduates today from the country of China are well aware, the universities in that country alone will this year graduate around 600,000 scientists, doctors, and engineers, and a corresponding number in the humanities. It doesn't matter whether you're in Asia, in Europe, in the Americas, in Africa. Higher education is now a matter of top national priority. But for you as individuals, of course, it has been both a rite of passage and now something of a passport to your future, to employment and to advancement in that employment. But equally, I hope you have found your time here or your time studying at distance from us as a route also to a degree of personal intellectual fulfillment. And indeed, I sincerely hope to some pleasure and some fun in the process. And above all, if you have taken anything away from the University of Leicester, it is a new power to reason and to think, whatever your discipline. So the investment you've all made, which is a considerable one in time and in effort during the past few years, has been a very good one. Indeed, it's probably the best investment of your time that you'll ever make. But I have some bad news for you, because the hard work is only just beginning. I hear you all silently groaning at the thought. But you know, a degree is only a start. It's what you now do with it which will distinguish you from your peers. And Leicester alumni, you know, down the years have taken full advantage of the start in life that they have had here, and they have seized the opportunities which life has put before them. I'm confident that you will do likewise, and those of us who remain at the university will look on with pleasure, with deep interest, and with fascination as your careers develop. And indeed, as the Vice-chancellor said earlier, we sincerely hope that you will stay in touch with us through the years and to keep us aware of your progress. But as I indicated at the outset, today is your day. It's a day for celebration. And it's high time that you were able now to return to your families at the back of the hall and in the gallery and begin that celebration. I should not detain you further, and Alan Race was quite right to quote that very famous phrase from our distinguished honorand Engelbert Humperdinck, that it is indeed now time to let you go. With that, we should move to a conclusion, but I would like to finish exactly where our Vice-Chancellor did, in wishing you my personal, very, very best wishes for success and for happiness and for health in your future. I now declare this congregation closed.